This conference will now be recorded.
Model exam schedule as well as test also. Even then, you have to enhance your knowledge in this lockdown period. So you have to attend these kind of webinars in order to enhance your knowledge. As well as you have to take care of your health by maintaining the social distancing. Even though the lockdown is partially released, you have to be very careful with your health. And I hope that you have to participate in the next week also for 1 week training. And I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Mangal Naik, and accepting the invitation for presenting this webinar. And I am handing over the session for the brief introduction about our business begins.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It's my pleasure to welcome our speaker, today's speaker, Mr. S.S. Mangal Natesh. So I'll be pleasure to introduce about our speakers today. Currently, he is working as a senior associate projects in CTS. He is having an experience of 8 years in software development and test automation. Apart from being an electrical engineer, he is a public speaker, a facilitator, a life skill trainer, and also a volunteer. As a passionate volunteer, he has ignited over 150,000 students on choosing a purposeful career across the country. He also trained thousands of students on job readiness, technical, and life skills. He is also a trustee of Vaishnavi Welfare and Charitable Trust, striving to eradicate malnourishment through Ayurveda. So once again, welcome you, sir. So now I hand over the session to today's speaker, Mr. S.S. Mangal Natesh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the opportunity, and I'm really pleased to be part of this program. And I could also proudly say that I'm one of the students of your professors, Mrs. Minita. So thanks for the opportunity, and I hope this session should be interesting for all of us. So this is a situation where there's a lot of uncertainties around, a lot of myths around, especially on the grounds of employment and employable opportunities. Right? So when we think of job readiness as a fresher, I think this is going to be one of the great times where freshers will have a lot of opportunities than the experienced. I'm sure that all of us would have read a number of articles that many are losing jobs. Yes, that is true, but that is not a fear factor for the freshers. It is actually, in my opinion, it is actually a boon for students who are who would be passing out in the next couple of years at least. The simple reason is with the economy going down, all of the organizations across industries, not necessarily IT or manufacturing industries, but across industries, we see a huge ramp down in terms of its employees. But the reason is very simple. It is not the number of employees that is going down, but it is a cost-saving approach that many do. So say, for example, if a person who is working for 10 years is paid an X amount, I can employ 2 or 3 freshers for the same amount of salary. Right? So that's the basic strategy. So in your eyes, it should actually be a pleasure. But I'll substantiate this information with more facts as we go down. But today, what we are going to do is I'm going to Just 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to break the topic into 3 segments. One, technology. Second, job readiness. And third, how would the post-pandemic era be in terms of job readiness and technology, right? See, we are all engineers by graduation, but when it comes to a real-time opportunity, there's a lot of difference between what we would have studied in college and what we actually perform in the industry. But I wouldn't say that it is entirely different, but it is like you study ABCD of a language in your college, but when it comes to uh, an a real-time project, it becomes the grammar, and it becomes a huge comprehension exercise altogether, right? So that's where I'm going to break this topic into 3 segments and lead you through. Yeah. So if you guys can quickly switch to your browsers and log into menti.com. I just have a quick poll for you. Yeah. So if you can log into menti.com, and it would ask you for a code. So if you can enter 431027, it would actually ask you for a very simple question. In your own words, you can define success, right? So what do you think success is? Yeah, as you enter your responses, we would see your responses on the screen here.
Students, kindly log to www.menti.com and give your responses in the polling. Kindly do it immediately.
Thank you, ma'am. So we've got one response here. When I achieved something which anyone did not achieve before. Okay, interesting. One who overcomes his difficulty is known as successful person. Okay, overcoming difficulty, great. Okay, when we achieve something in your life, okay, Okay, when I come to know the success after my failures. Okay, so basically when you overcome your failures. Okay, when I taste the fruit of my hard work for a particular work, excellent. Mhm. The fact of getting or achieving wealth, respect, or fame, excellent. Result of hard work, okay. Smart work will lead to successful person. Mhm. But if you can, write on, uh, say, I feel successful if I kind of earn 100,000 uh, bucks every month, right? So something like that can also be written. Okay. We'll just wait for 1 more minute to see more answers.
Yes, sir, we will wait for some time, sir.
Yes, sure, ma'am. So when we done something, someone told you can't, and the thing we done in our own interest, it's something called success. Great, that's nice. The correct or desired result of an attempt. Okay, when you achieve your ambition, great. If there's anyone who's facing difficulty in accessing the poll, let me know. We'll try to fix that. Okay, so when I achieved my goal, okay, when I became a change instead being changed, great. I won't feel successful at any time because it won't let us move further. Interesting. Success doesn't has a definition. Success is what people think about us. Okay. Success is the most often thing in our life. Don't cry for the first failure, but try for your next success. It leads to succeed in our life when our wish is fulfilled. Mhm. Great. Okay. So I'll leave this poll open for some time. You guys can continue answering while we'll just move further. Okay, so one last one here. When I achieve my passion in my unique way, that what I deserve. Great. Yeah. So in general, if you see, right, most of you call yourself successful when you reach a particular destination, right? So the destination could be anything. It can be, winning over the comments that people would have told on you. Let's say, your teacher or your professor would have told that, you will never get a good score as long as you change. That's not a curse actually, but yeah, if that is a comment from a teacher or a professor, and we come back saying, proving to them, no, I'm not that incapable, but I can do something. I can change the way you perceive me. Right? So that is success. For some, let's say, who's very weak in English, they find it very difficult to converse in English. So now when they overcome that barrier, for them, that could be a great success. Right? Overcoming the barrier of speaking in English, talking to hundreds and thousands of people in English. communicating with them, making things better, right? So that could be a success for a person like that. And for somebody who is topping all the subjects, who has got 98, maybe getting 100 out of 100 could be success. So this success has its own flavor that differs from person to person, right? So when you think of an organization, they also have some goals for themselves, they which differ from organization to organization, right? So if we could quickly switch to the slide. So this is how we can define success in an organization. So we put in some efforts over time, and that effort results in something. So you call that, you should have an outcome. So if you don't have an outcome, then there's no point in uh, calling your efforts as meaningful, right? So I'll give you a quick example. Let's say every day in the morning, I come to R.M.D. Engineering College, step into your classroom, right, and run between the walls from morning to evening every day, right? So do you think, I mean, what impression would you have on me? So you can feel free to unmute and converse so that it can be more interactive. How would you feel? Would you feel really happy about seeing me, running between your uh, classrooms every time? You can even use the chat window to respond. So if you want me to repeat the question, here I go. So every day morning at 8 o'clock, I step into R.M.D. Engineering College and get into your classroom. I run between the walls for the whole day, and at 4 o'clock, I leave the classroom, reach home. The next day morning, I come, again at 8 o'clock, keep running. So if I do this for the whole year, what would you call me as? Okay, schoolboy, all right, staff, great. I think many of you are hesitating to put the right answer. If I were at your place, I would say, that I'm a fool. Exactly, it won't make sense, and it can't, fulfill the purpose of being there. Thank you, Tarun, for bringing that up. At least, that's a real sense that every one of us would have. What is this fool doing here, coming to the classroom every day in the morning, running between the walls, right? But imagine my figure is replaced by Virat Kohli or Sachin Tendulkar or MS Dhoni. In that case, how would you call that? Do you still call them as fools? Okay, programmed machine. So me or the players out there. So what difference you see between me running between the walls and the three players that I told running between your walls? It's the same activity that all of us do, but what is the difference there? Do you see any difference, or all are one and the same? It's a daily routine for the players to be at their fitness level. Great. So that's exactly the reason. So if they run between the walls, there is an outcome. So it could be a practice session for them to run between the bales in a match. Whereas for me, I'm not a cricketer, right? So okay, they do workout, but I'm wasting time. Absolutely, right? But since they are all known figures, you said yes, they are practicing, or they are maintaining their fitness level and so on. But you never knew about me, right? So you never knew if I'm a cricketer, or if I'm an athlete, or if I'm working out on my obesity, right? So but honestly saying, I'm doing none of them. But yeah, so if that is the case, you can put in a lot of efforts, and if there is no outcome attached to it, then you don't call it as a job, right? There's no purpose in doing putting so much effort. But if there is an outcome, then you call that as a job. Now the question comes, right? So what is the difference between a job and a career? So this is one of the most misspelled words in English. So what is a job, and what is a career, right? So when you say a job, it is a particular activity that you do at one point in time. Today, your job is as a student. Tomorrow your job could be working as an electrical engineer, or an electronics engineer, or an engineer working in IT, or you could become a HR professional, or you could even start your own business, right? So those are the different jobs which are at a particular point in time. Whereas when you say a career, it starts right from your birth till your retirement. So that's the whole career. It starts with education. Your career has already started. So if there's somebody who's coming to you and say, right, so I'm guiding your career path, tell them, boss, I've started my career years back. So the difference it makes is the right choices at the right time will lead you to the outcome. Exactly. So I can give you a example, of course not suitable for this time, but yeah, let's say you're all planning for a vacation, right? You want to reach some a place. Okay, so the first thing that you will decide is where to go, the destination. So it could be Uti, it could be Malaysia, it could be Singapore, it could be US, it could be Dubai, right? So but the first thing is you choose the destination. And how you choose the destination, it can have various reasons. One, it could be a place where you have never visited. Two, it could fall within your budget. Three, it could be convincing for the whole group. So there are a lot of reasons in choosing your destination. Similarly, all your efforts should be directed towards the goal that you choose. So that's very important. So you should know what outcome you are expecting out of your efforts. So how do you choose your goals? It could be based on your interest. It could be based on your strengths. It could be based on what you love to do, right? So when you do this, you set your career path with a purpose. Now, when it comes to an organization, right? I have a quick poll again, um, but before going to that poll, right? So let's talk about an organization. So when you have more number of people working towards a common goal, you can call that as an organization. Say, for example, let's take Airtel. right? So what does Airtel do? They provide communication services to people, and who make the organization. There could be people who are working on the engineering side. There could be sales representatives. There could be storekeepers. There could be customer care representatives who address our calls. So all of them do different jobs, but their common goal is to serve people, to communicate. So that common objective that is set makes it an organization. This is applicable even to a team, right? So a team of people work towards a common goal. So let's say, we all form a team. I work for something and you work for something else, which are in extremely opposite goals. Then we don't make up a team. We rather make up a competitor, right? A competitorship. So an organization has a defined goal. It could be their mission or vision, and um, if this organization has to be successful, every member in the organization should put in their efforts to reach that goal. So I'm just juggling between these two slides because it is the same formula that you see. It is a set of efforts over a period of time results in outcome. So if it is an individual, you call that as an individual success. If it is together as a team or an organization, then it becomes the organization success, right? Now, how many of you have heard about this man, Eric Yuan? So uh, he originates from China and he is the founder of Zoom. So today, most of the calls, be it with family or with friends or webinars, happen on Zoom. So Zoom has become very popular, during this period of pandemic. So if you read about this guy, it is very interesting. He was part of one of the world's most professional communication teams called WebEx. Even today, majority of the corporates use WebEx for communication. But at one point in time, he did not find enough opportunities to be innovative, and he stepped out of the company. So when he stepped out, he was the vice president of Cisco WebEx. And when he stepped out, there were 40 other team members who also joined him, saying, we are also feeling bored. We'll also step out of the company. And these 40 guys together started Zoom, right? And their success is predominantly because of the innovation and a very simple application that they created. It's a very light to use. Of course, today there are a lot of controversies on the security side, which we need not get into. But if you see in the last few months, their users have grown 700%, not just double or triple. It is 700% higher, which is, if there was one user earlier, today there are 8 users. So that's the growth rate, right? So if you see that, they owe their success to just their innovation and the attitude that they possess. Now, this is an interesting question. So I'm just breaking down the concept of an organization to a lower level. So we all, would have um, gone to our kitchen and we would have, boiled milk. So I have a quick survey again on menti.com. If you can quickly log in back to menti.com and use this code 505551, right? I'll bring up the next poll. Yeah. So you have 4 options to say. So you can either say, I have been boiling milk for so many times, but I have never let it overflow. Okay, that's an interesting start, right? And the second is, okay, I've let it overflow few times, right? So third is let it overflow many times, and the fourth, my category where I have never boiled milk but only drunk it. Right? Let's see how many of you respond to this. Okay, I see good number of responses. Okay, so I see more companions for my category. That's interesting. Okay, we reached 20, 22. Okay, so we'll just give 1 more minute for the others to respond. I see close to 50% of you have responded. We will start a countdown. Yeah, this goes with a countdown. Let's see. Mhm. Okay, so the last 5 seconds for you to vote. Okay, so yes, I see most of you being very honest, telling I've let it go a few times or many times or never be boiled milk. But this is an interesting category, right? So if you want me to reveal the truth behind these responses who said I've never let it overflow, it should either be a lie, okay, or they should have been standing in front of the stoves gazing at the vessel to check if it is boiling or not and immediately turning it off, right? So do you agree with me on that? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
great. So what makes it overflow, right? So basically, even before going there, how many of you think that you could become a millionaire or a billionaire by having a tea shop or a coffee shop? Is there any of you who think it would be definitely possible for us to, have um, uh, have an opportunity for us to become a millionaire by having a coffee shop or a tea shop?
Yes, sir. It's
It
definitely
might happen.
possible, sir.
Okay. So can you give me some examples?
Sir, examples like barista,
Okay.
some cafe shops. The owners might think like, why don't I start with these coffee shops and why don't I become a billionaire? And
Mm-hmm.
the thought they made became them
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Yes,
That's interesting.
yes, sir.
What's your good name?
So Varun, sir. Varun,
Okay. Varun. Thank you. Thank you, Varun. Yeah.
sir. My pleasure.
Okay. So you, I see a lot of responses about our PM and our CM, right? So yeah, that's a different story. But what I wanted is just having the coffee shop growing in the same industry, same field, not into politics, right? So that is still possible. So Batista is one example. You have Cafe Coffee Day, you have Starbucks. So what is the differentiating factor between the normal coffee shops around our residence or college and these cafes as we call them, right? So what makes the difference?
Sir, initially, actually, they start to create their own brand value, sir.
Okay.
They work hard for that, creating that brand value,
Mm-hmm.
and that make them different from all other coffee shops.
Okay. Interesting. So that's a good
Custom,
perspective of it. Yeah. Right.
customer
And
service.
mhm.
Yes,
By doing some hard work along with smart work, one day it can become true. Yeah. Yes. Right. But if you just dive deeper into this and see what really cost their success, it's a very simple thing. One, of course, the marketing side of it. The others, right, the technical aspect behind. Now let's assume that you were a coffee I mean, you are running that coffee shop, be it Cafe Coffee Day or Batista or any other, cafe for that matter. And I'm coming to you asking for a job in your cafe, right? Let's say if you want me to put it in colloquial terms as a tea master or a coffee master, right? So what would you expect from me? So just by seeing me or just by word of mouth, you don't give me a job, right? You would definitely expect something from me. Yes. So
yes,
what would
sir.
that be? So what would
So
that be?
actually, I let you to go into my kitchen and I ask you to serve me a coffee,
Hmm.
the best from you, so that I can calculate uh, how tastes your coffee. Then I might select you for job.
Okay, that's interesting, and the same response from Kritika as well. Thank you. So yes, you will get to know whether I'm able to make coffee or not. Now, let's say there is another candidate who is also approaching you, right? Both of us prepare coffee, and both our coffees, taste really good, right? Now, whom would you pick? You have only one opening, but we are two of us with the same quality of coffee. Whom would you pick?
Sir, I'll allow him to give his thoughts for improving my company, and
Hmm.
based on that, and I'll pick him up.
Okay.
I'll allow
Okay.
both of them.
Okay. I also see interesting answers on the chat. Um, the way they presented consumer choice, the one with better communication skill to handle the customer person who's young. Okay, so let's think of a real time thing. You enter into a job interview. similar to this case, right? So do you think that you will be given a project and you will be asked to deliver something so that we would be able to assess you?
Definitely not, sir.
So then what is the matter behind? So that's the
Resume.
crux of the resume, right? Okay. So what should your resume, showcase? Based on experience? Yes. Right. So before diving deep into this question, let me post another question. How many of you know why milk overflows? There's nothing related to electrical engineering. I'm sorry for that, but yeah, this is a simple example which will make us understand what reality is. Right. So how many of you know how milk overflows or why milk overflows? Don't Google. Huh? A careless mistake? Oh, it's not a careless mistake. Even if you carefully stand in front of it and let it overflow, yes, it will overflow. The air expands on heating. Okay. So do you mean to say that there is air inside milk that expands? Maybe I'll make this question, even more simpler. Take two vessels, one with water and one with milk. Boil both of them together. You will see milk overflowing, whereas water wouldn't. Why? Okay, when boiled, the fat matter forms a layer after which the water makes to boil by boiling at certain temperature. Yeah, Tangababu, you are very close to the answer. So since you brought that out, let me give you the exact answer. So milk has some substance called lactose, right? So so this lactose, what happens is it reacts with air at a mild temperature and forms a small layer on top, the precipitate layer, right? In Tamil, we call it as paladai or edu, right? Depending on the region that or the slang that we use, there are two terms to define it, right? So this thin precipitate on the top, forms a cover, like a lid. So now milk is inside a closed container. Now, when you continue heating beyond a particular temperature, what happens is the pressure increases. Now, when pressure increases, what would happen is the air molecules inside the vessel will expand. And when you compare the all sides of this closed container, the top layer is having the least stability. So what happens is it will tend to push that up, and once that reaches the brim, it is because of gravity that it spills down. So this is the science behind boiling milk. Okay, so if you analyze this science, lactose present in milk could be somewhere learned in our high school biology, right? And lactose is a reaction with air chemistry, and then the pressure, heat, expansion, gravity, all of this is physics. So if you see here, all of this that we learned in high school are brought into practicality, right? Where we boil milk and experience it. So now, for an organization which recruits you to boil milk in their organization, they will expect you to know this. The reason is very simple. If you can make 10 coffees with 1 liter of milk, let's assume, okay, and there's another guy who can make 12 coffees with the same quantity of milk and the same quality, then he becomes the better choice. So it is not just the quality, but also what quantum of outcome that you can, deliver, because this is profit and loss game, right? If you make even one coffee extra, that's a boon to the organization. If you waste even one drop of milk by letting it overflow, that's a loss to the organization. So you understand how an organization thinks. You might even never think of this as a student, but when you start up an organization, this is how things get related, to each other. Okay, so with that, let's move back. So now, in the same example, right? So we need to understand what are the selling points. So I told you that this not just quality, but also quantity that is important. So now go back to menti.com and you have one another poll, probably the last poll for the hour. So you can add up to 5 selling points of yours. So when I say selling points, recruitment is a business. Okay, so you need to prove that these are your selling points. This is how I am different from the others. So we'll just take 2 minutes time in as we are running out of time. So we'll just take 2 minutes and see what responses you could give. You can give as many as 5 responses. If you find it difficult to use menti.com, we can even try doing it in chat. If you feel that is easier, go ahead and do it in chat. I leave it to you. Nobody? Okay, what are your strengths? So let me rephrase this question. If I'm your interviewer, I ask you this question: why should I hire you? Right? What would you respond? So that's basically the answer to this question. Okay, I don't see any responses. Is it? Are you? Yes. So Gautam, yes. What it is not what I expect, but it is what you possess, right? I'm sorry for missing that chat. Okay, so we have some response here. Okay, location of the shop, right? Okay, so don't worry about the milk example that we spoke. It is more about yourself, right? So you're not going to find the location of the shop and then say, since it is this in this location, I'm eligible for the job, right? So it is why you are eligible for the job. Okay, So you're talking about the marketing aspects. I do not know who the person has responded, since it's an anonymous poll. But yeah, but these are right in the context of the milk example. But this is a general question about yourself. So what makes you employable? Um, yep. By reading the people, current scenario, mindset, and release our output according to that. Okay. Okay. So I'm getting more responses here. Showing the positive side, experience at the field, location. Okay. Mhm. Okay, you are passionate, you are a perfectionist. Great. Okay, I think we'll go with a countdown of 30 seconds. Right. Um, Showing the positive side, excellent. Okay, so I'm getting more responses here. Passionate, location, community, positive side, right? Okay, fine. So generally, there should be four selling points for anybody because this is what is expected. So let's take the example of milk, okay? And I'll quickly summarize. So at the end, you should be able to boil milk with quality and also quantity, right? So that is the skill that you're trying to showcase. So skills are nothing but any activity that you are capable of doing. So the ability to do something is your skill. And when you talk about the other three factors which would actually result in your skills, the first thing is education. Okay, the formal or the informal education that you get can result in your skill, right? So in this example, knowing about lactose, knowing about its chemical reactions, knowing about the physical properties, the physical phenomena that takes place, all of that is because of education. Now the next thing, the second E, is experience. Let's say on day one you boiled milk, you might have let it overflow, but on day two or today, after so many years of boiling milk, if you let it overflow at home, I'm sure your mom will be behind you with a broomstick, right? So you're so careless. After so many years, you're still letting it overflow. So that's one thing. And on the other side, if you look at my wife or my mom, today they just turn on the stove and they move around, wash vessels, wash clothes, come back after x amount of time and turn it off, right? So that's experience. So if you take any industry, let's say you are facing a challenge. First time you face that challenge, it would take a longer time for you to resolve. But as days progress, as you gain more experience, by seeing the issue, you should say, okay, this should be the root cause for this issue. So let me go and address that. So once you address that, it would get immediately fixed. But on day one, it will take a longer time. Now, the scale is something very interesting. So not everything is taught to us, on the ground, in the job, or in our colleges. but there are something which we learn and know from the external world, be it magazines, internet, various other sources. So that's the knowledge that we possess. Okay, so ideally what happens is all your education, experience, and knowledge result in skills. Okay, so what happens is these are the key expectations from an interviewer or the person who is giving you the job. So now with this in mind, we are going to talk about the real problem, right? So today's lockdown technology system, there's something that is expected out of students, so which we call as the 21st century skills. So this is the set of 12, 13 skills. So maybe I can share this link with you guys. You can go refer to it. This is a wonderful blog that talks about critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, information media technology, and flexibility, being a leader, taking initiatives, being more productive, and being social. Right? Why do we have these as the need of the hour today? Because it is not a single industry that is working separately, but there are multiple industries which are clubbed together today for getting a product done. You might have heard about Internet of Things. There's nothing new there. IoT is never a new concept, but these days IoT is becoming popular because of the usage and the applications. If you just take a deep dive into IoT, all that you will have are the sensors, the various electronic boards that connect different objects and materials in the real world. So what happens is, earlier we had sensors, we knew about them, we were using sensors for years, but today what has happened is all of them have been connected together and we form it as a single holistic package, right? This is something like we had MS Word, MS PowerPoint, MS Excel, all as separate applications earlier. Today, they are all clubbed together and it is given as a package called Office 365, right? So that's another example that I can quote of. So it's like a combo. So when multiple technologies are clubbing together, so we need something that is very important to get this collaboration done. So that is the 20th, 21st century skills that you're seeing here, right? And when you talk about what are those technologies that are clubbed together, that is denoted by the pictures on the right. We call that as STEAM. S for science, T for technology, E for engineering, A for arts, and M for maths. So all these 5 areas are clubbed together in different corners of the world for different applications. And that becomes the technology of today. It is not just technology, but it is the entire STEAM. So what you need to possess is you need to possess all 5 of these skills in combination with the 21st century skills. So these 21st century skills are common for everybody and anyone who is looking for a job opportunity today, be it experienced, be it a topper, be it a person who scores less, immaterial. We need this, right? And the STEAM concepts should be known, the integration points should be known. So if you know this in detail, then you are eligible and job ready for today. And with the current pandemic in place, right? So with the current pandemic in place, there's one additional thing that I want to emphasize more on, which is leadership. Okay. So if you, I just got this image on one of the WhatsApp forwards. So if you see here, these are all the activities that the leader should do. It is not just saying, "Hey, I'm the leader, do what I say," but it is being a team, teaching the team, conducting things, innovating things, making the entire team perform, and so on, right? So that's more important. So you should ensure that you are capable of forming these 9, playing these 9 roles to showcase your leadership. So now you could ask me, sir, I'm a fresher, so why should I showcase leadership? Today, freshers are hired mainly because of their leadership skills. So today, most of the leaders who are, on top are losing their jobs, and those jobs are going to be filled by the people on, lower in the organization chart. So what makes them reach to the top? It is just leadership. So if you are not able to showcase a leadership quality, then you lose a chance of being selected, right? So this is the most important 21st century skill that organizations look today. Okay. So now it's time for you to probe me with questions. But before that, I just want to show one quick link which you all could refer. So this is called as the India Skills Report. So this India Skills Report is available. If you can just Google for it, and you will land up here. So this India Skills Report, also called as ISR, was being done for the last 7 years. Okay, I'm just going through uh, the the summary of all the uh, findings over the past 7 years. So if you see here, employability means there are 100 candidates available. How many of them are capable of getting a job? So in 2014, when they started the survey, it was only 33.95%. And today it has grown only to 46%. What does this mean? So if there are 100 persons graduating out of college and looking for a job, it is only 46 of them who are really eligible. The remaining 54 are not meeting the requirements of the job. So that's the major finding that we need to look of. And now we see by different streams, we see the employability percentage spread. So if you see BE BTech, this is slightly higher than the average of 46, which is 49. MBA is a little more even. So this is by degree. And if you just scroll down, you see this is the change in expectations of the employers, right? And what are the top sectors that has an employability opportunity today? So today in 2020, if you see banking and finance services, insurance, BPO, KPO, and ITES, and internet business. So with the pandemic in place, this internet business has grown to a larger scale, right? All technology players are seeing a good growth, provided their applications are very stable, right? And which has the most number of candidates. So this is in terms of competition. So if you see any undergraduate course, it is only 8% competition today, whereas if you see engineers, it is 31%. So what does it mean? For one job opening, there are at an average 37 people applying for it, right? So that's the thing. And maximum hiring, right, happens in these states. So Tamil Nadu is luckily having the highest hiring in 2020, and it has shown a consistent performance even in 14, 16, and 17. So we should be thankful for that opportunity today. But yeah, so I just would like to stop here and move to one key finding for 2020. So these are the different stages in the industrial revolutions. So if you see today, we are more keen on the Internet of Things, networks, and cyber and physical systems. So this is the steam that I was explaining about. Okay. Right. So if you have any questions, I can, we can open up. I'm sorry for going a few minutes beyond schedule. But yeah. Any questions for me?
During the time and also.
Sorry, I couldn't get that.
No problem, sir, for extending the time beyond 12 o'clock and also. No problem.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Students, if you have any questions, kindly post it in the chat box, or even you can unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Thank you, Nagapalan, for that positive note.
Mitra ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, there is no question.
No questions. Okay, shall we end up the session now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this webinar. On behalf of the management, principal sir, department and HOD ma'am, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to Mr. S.S. Mangal, who showered us with his speech in spite of his busy schedule. I especially liked the speech and the way he explained the topic is exemplary. I thank you once again, sir. As no program can become successful with a single person, so I extend my sincere thanks to my colleagues, Vinita madam, Karkolil madam, and all the second year staff counselors for organizing this one-day webinar. And last but not the least, I thank the student participants, especially Varun Ritvik, for making this webinar an interactive session. Once again, thank you, sir. In future, we have to look forward for many sessions with you once the college is getting reopened. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was really a nice session for me as well. And yes, as you rightly stated, thanks Arun for making it interactive. And there were a few others who also posted on the chat. So I have shared
Yes,
the
sir.
two links for ISR and the 21st century skills in the chat. Maybe you could use that.
Definitely, definitely. Students can kindly fill in the feedback form, which is given in the chat box. You fill it up. Once if you've completed the feedback submission, then you can leave the session. So thank you, sir. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, Mangal.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for your wonderful session, Mangal.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.